So we're going to talk about trolls. And I really feel like people who troll, it's like the internet's version of really terrible satire. Because very rarely do I read somebody's trolling post and think it's actually funny. It's usually either really offensive or really confusing. And you don't know whether it's satire or not until they do like this troll thing. Does that make sense, right?
It makes sense. The thing that I have against it, not besides the fact that it's stupid and mean, is that a lot of times it's grammatically incorrect, and therefore, even if you're going to say something that might be relevant in a, sarcastic and rude way, I'm not going to read it, because I just scan it and I say, oh, you typed you instead of Y-O-U. I'm not going to read it. Yes, I am kind of mean like that. So I'm just curious about what that, if it actually, I know the video was saying that a lot of trolling doesn't actually, they're not necessarily waiting for everyone to respond. They kind of throw a bunch of stuff out there and see what sticks. But I'm just curious what it means for them in general. Like, are they actually accomplishing anything besides getting other people to be hated on?
They're not, it's not always explicitly hate. Sometimes it's a more subtle, like, think about what you're saying because you're wrong thing. But I feel like they're hoping that through using an alternate form of discourse, maybe people will listen to them. Because the person making the original post has control of the post. And there's only so many ways that you can take back a post, and that's by drawing attention to it, right? And so, in a way, it's a way to draw attention to your argument. It just never really presents that argument right away. But I do feel like, linking to another post isn't going to get people to read what you have to say. But maybe they feel like by starting with this really terribly done satire, people will start to catch on to their argument and start to think about some things in order to form their own.
It also brings into question the power dynamics between the troll and the original poster. Because we talked about this in class a bit, and it was something that I just didn't understand, is the fact that these posters can turn off comments. And I understand that means that you're not going to get all the positive comments as well, but if it's so damaging psychologically, and if you're taking it so much to heart, as in what Copper Cab obviously was taking a lot of it to heart, it doesn't make sense to me personally why you would continually put yourself in that situation when you physically have the power to turn off the comment and say, no, I'm not going to put myself through that anymore. It's a very weird thing, because in like that kind of internet bullying and trolling, it is something you can technically get away from. Whereas like bullying physically, she can't get away from me when I push her. Yeah. That's how she gets back at me. But, she physically would have to, it takes a lot more effort to get away from me, whereas online she can unfriend me, or something very simple like that. Yet it seems like the people who continually post about it and then respond to it and then go on all these things and make videos and all these, I feel like they're wanting the attention as well, and they almost want that negative attention.
Yeah, with Copper Cab, it's like he's almost desperately waiting for the day that all of the comments are positive, but that's such an unrealistic expectation. He must know that's never going to come, right? And he must know that there's never going to be a day where somebody, or when it was kind of a thing, when somebody didn't make a response to his video. And so it does seem a little bit backward in that sense, but then, maybe it is just this hopelessness that he clings on to. Maybe it is just, one day people are going to understand me. One day people are going to acknowledge that this is it. I was just watching his videos because, anyway, he believes people who talk about gingers are racist, right? And so one day people are going to acknowledge this racism, and it's going to create a movement. So maybe in his mind he really does think he can change people's opinions, but it's so idealistic and so unrealistic.
Well, it did kind of create a mini movement. Like, wasn't there some weird convention for only redheads?
Yeah, there was.
And so, it did something, and obviously we're sitting here talking about it, and South Park parodied it. And when they parody something, they obviously think it's got some kind of importance. They might not agree with it, but generally they try and at least have some kind of message behind a lot of their parodies.
The South Park thing resulted in that Kick a Ginger Day. Do you don't remember that? Horrible. Okay, so Cake a Ginger Day was these like kids at their schools were making up this day. They posted it as a Facebook group, and they said Cake a Ginger Day is like April 3rd or whatever. And on April 3rd, everybody ganged up on gingers at like a middle school, and one kid got like severely beaten.
Good God.
So, I mean, in his response, he really is trying to correct some things that are really pretty bad. I didn't get kicked, in case you're wondering.
I'm glad you didn't get kicked.
Thank you.